All right, so good morning, everyone. My name is Stephen Menastra. I'm the principal at North Monaco Technical Career Center. Joining me today is Robert Catanzaro, our electrical trades teacher, and Brian Pottiger, the mechatronics teacher here at North Monaco as well. As previously mentioned, our presentation is called Reduce, Reuse, and Recycle, Ways to Include Various Stakeholders for Your Student-Centered School Improvement Initiatives. Today, we're going to discuss two things that we accomplished over the past 2.5 years or so. That we thought that would be really good best practices for other schools to be aware of in the processes that we took to actually create them. So to give you some background, North Monaco has 5 districts. Wissahickon, Souderton, North Penn, Methacton, and Perkiomen Valley all send students to our school. We have about 1,100 students, and we actually have 3 sessions per day, which is unique to the state. We have an AM1 session, which is 2 hours long, which is from 8:10 to 10:10. We have a second AM2 session, which is from 10:10 to 11:40. And then we have a PM session from 12:10 to 2:30, which is about 2.25 hours. Depending on the district that you attend and the grade level, it affects what session you guys actually attend at North Monaco. All of our programs are 4-year programs, and we have 20 CTE programs. 2 of them are not CATS approved, which are Allied Health and Biotech. They're locally funded. We also have a full-day apprenticeship program called PIAP, the Pennsylvania Youth Apprenticeship Program. And this is unique as well. So we have students attend here all day. We have about 120 students in the program, ranging from 10th grade to 12th grade. Our sophomores are here all day, 5 days a week, and they actually take their lab in the AM and their academics in the PM. Our juniors are here from Wednesday to Friday doing their morning session lab. Their morning session is with the academics and the PM in the lab. And they actually go out to work Monday and Tuesday the entire day. Our seniors are here Monday and Tuesdays for academics in the morning and the lab in the PM. And they actually go out to work all day Wednesday through Friday. So it's kind of like co-op on steroids. They actually follow the same laws and requirements that co-op does, except we provide them the academics and they actually go to work all day instead of part of the day. In addition, our school is grouped into 7 career clusters. We have culinary, cosmetology, health and human services, visual communications, engineering, power and transportation, and construction clusters. And we have the 1 academic cluster that we talked about with PIAP. We have cluster meetings and committee meetings at the end of the day. So our school day ends at 2:30, but our teacher day ends at 3:15. So we have 18 permanent cluster and committee meetings, and the committees consist of curriculum, safety, professional development, wellness, IT. They're all teacher-led, which is a good thing. Gives them more input and more leadership throughout the building. And then we have something that I call short-term development groups. And these are formed when I want to start a new initiative, solve an issue, or come up with some kind of plan to move the school forward. So one of these initiatives that was developed by our short-term development teams was a CTE honors course. Now, the goal of the honors course, was to reduce the high number the number of high performing students leaving our school. We've encountered an issue in the past where some of our gifted students or students that are in the honors track at their sending district to have to decide between taking an honors biology class or withdrawing from North Monaco because the honors class is only offered at a certain time of the day. So to prevent that from happening, we wanted to offer them an opportunity to still take an honors course at North Monaco and keep that GPA as high as that they possibly can. Currently, our districts only saw our programs with dual enrollment agreements as honors courses that are weighted as high as theirs at their sending schools. In addition to that, if anyone has experience with dual enrollment courses, we're limited on the content. We have to follow their textbook, their types of lessons and assessments and their time frame. And it also costs students a lot of money for the dual enrollment fees for the textbook and the tuition to the college. So one of the ideas about the honors course is that we would align it to the articulation agreements, meaning that we still follow the PO's task list. We can still do the added value tasks. We have some flexibility in our curriculum for the honors courses because we're not tied down to the dual enrollment requirements. And the districts are actually going to weight these honors courses as honors courses like they do at their districts to keep the GPA up as well for our students. So for full disclosure, our health sciences currently has dual enrollment, but the option for the dual enrollment for health sciences is not seen as an honors weighted course at the districts. So this is going to be a way to accomplish that as well. When we developed the honors courses, every program had minimum requirements. One of them being this honors course project that I'll talk about in a few minutes. And it was also prerequisites for the honors courses that had to be established and obtained before the student was even eligible for the honors course. So the whole purpose behind the honors course is to give them an opportunity to have engaged in rigorous and high-level learning, be recognized for their accomplishments for their time at the with their time in the program, and having their course then be weighted equally from the honors courses at the sending district as well. So I'm going to go over some of the timeline here that we've used to create the honors courses. So if you look at it in fall 2019, I actually started as principal here. I went around, met all the principals at their high school, took a tour of their schools. I see them as partner schools. I want to make sure that they're aware that we're partners in educating the same students that come here that attend their school as well. So at the end of each meeting, I asked the principals straight up, I said, what can we do to support your students' success better? What can we do to make your life easier? And to credit the principal at Wissahick and Dr. Blair, she came to me and said, Steve, I think we should offer honors courses to our Career and Tech Center students. And that kind of blew me away because normally the districts want to keep their high flyers at their school. We don't really get that communication, that openness and transparency from the district. So I hopped on it and took advantage of it right away. Then in the winter of 2019, 2020, I evaluated some of our senior projects. The current senior project when I started was intense. There was a lot of academics that were incorporated in it. It didn't seem the right fit for every kind of student that we have at the Career and Tech Center. So we had some teachers cutting corners, not fulfilling the entire project, some teachers doing a completely different project. I was signing these documents, asking students what their project's about. They really couldn't articulate what was going on with that. So I met with the teachers to discuss exactly what was going on there. And I knew that there was room for improvement. Then, as we all know, COVID hit. So I pretty much put everything on pause in the spring of 2020. But then when the fall of 2020 came, we started these development teams for the honors course. And I chose 5 Career and Tech Ed teachers and 1 academic teacher, knowing that the honors course should have a lot of highly academic components to it as well. And I took some seasoned teachers, some new teachers, all mixed up, trying to get different perspectives, from which way is the best way to approach this. We also sought out student input to see what they felt an honors course should be like as well. And we were actually pretty lucky because our hybrid schedule for that year allowed us to have asynchronous Fridays for the deep clean, which meant there was no students in the buildings. And we took full advantage of those Fridays to hold all these meetings and to start initiatives in developing for school improvement. Then in the winter of 2021, that's when we started developing our own specific programs, our own specific honors courses for each program. We gave feedback to each teacher, we critiqued it, and then every member of that development team walked away with a completed product for the honors course. Then we shared that with our OAC members, the principals of our school districts. We received some feedback, made a little bit more adjustments, and then we presented it to the North Montrose staff. And then this fall, we actually had all the teachers finishing up the requirements for the honors course. We presented it to the districts for this winter. We're going to give them the course description, and we pretty much generated a generic course description for all the programs. So it doesn't take up too much space in the district's course handbook, but there's a blurb about the honors courses that are available for each program that we offer. So again, for the CT honors course, we actually reused the current added value tasks. Every CTE program has added value tasks, ones that were added on by the OAC recommendations by business and industry about certifications or other techniques that they need to know, and any advanced industry certifications, those certifications that not every student attains during their time at the program, that only the high flyers, the really highly skilled students attained. We actually used them and added them to be part of our honors project, honors course as well. And then we recycled our old senior project. And again, this senior project I'm going to show you guys in a few minutes was really academically intense, and I thought it was a better fit for more of the honors course type of student. So I'm going to show you some of the links here. Hopefully it works for you guys. This was an outline. This was the template that we used to develop the honors course. So if you notice at the top, the prerequisites, it was 100% of the POS task list that has to be completed before we even consider them to be an honors student. We also needed them to have a 90% or higher in the program for over the 3 or 2 years that they're in the program. And their academic courses have to be at 80% or higher, because we know that the academics in the honors course are going to be more rigorous than what they're used to in the CTE program. We also required a recommendation form from a completed academic teacher from their sending district to make sure that they know that, that they have confidence that the student can be successful in the honors course. And then the teacher was able to identify any industry certifications that were required by the student to attain before the honors course as well. Then some of the required assignments for the honors course was this honors project that I'll show you next. And then the teachers were able to identify specific tasks that they wanted to do as part of the honors project and any specific industry certifications. We also require our students to participate in Skills USA. We have a school-wide membership. So to promote the CTSOs, to get them more involved, the honors course student has to attend meetings, conferences, or some competitions. Since the honors course is voluntary, we want to make sure that the students have some choice and some buy-in into the honors course. So we actually had a student choice part of the honors course where they could choose 2 extracurricular activities. They could be joining a club, employment in the field, because a lot of our co-op students are those high flyers that already have a job, summer internship or job shadow, community service, or even an interview with a professional. And the good thing is that the course selection happens in the spring, which means they can have all summer then to complete these extra activities that are related to the course if they needed to get it out of the way, so they don't have to focus on it in the fall if they wanted to, complete those components before the school year even began. So if you notice here, the actual requirements that we're gathering together for the honors course is nothing new. We're not recreating the wheel. We're just kind of repackaging the advanced part of the curriculum that we had. So the students are still doing their entire 12th grade, tasks and certifications and projects that are really originally assigned. We're just adding on an additional component to the 12th grade part, so it counts as the full honors course. So we didn't want our teachers to be overwhelmed or anything about, oh my gosh, we have to teach a whole nother program. We're just taking it, repackaging it, adding on to it, and calling it our honors course. This is the written project that we keep talking about. This was the actual senior project that I thought was kind of intense for our students. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I just want to point out a couple highlights from the project. So part of it was a written component, and we decided to give the students options about what kind of paper they want to write. So we're allowing the students to choose a research paper, a how-to paper, an experience or a reflection paper, a persuasive paper, or a case study. And the teachers that we worked with to develop this, we're all in agreement that one of those types of papers will fit into every CTE program. And then the teachers then have, the students can promote the student choice for the type of paper they want to write, or they can direct them into a certain specific type of paper that they want to write for their project. In addition to the written part, which has to be 5 to 7 pages with MLA format, sources, bibliography, all that good stuff, also has to develop a product with it. So the product has to be related to the written paper, whether it be a reflection of how they completed a task or developed a product in the lab, a reflection of the process they did to do it and so forth. And then they have to do a presentation about the product in the paper as well in front of a little panel. We're going to invite the OHC members to be part of the judges and the participants in the presentation also. And to support our teachers, we also provided them with rubrics. So we didn't want our teachers to be overwhelmed. They're like, well, how am I going to grade a written paper? I don't even teach English. I don't know what I'm doing. So we developed rubrics that they could use for the product, the written paper, and the presentation. To make sure everyone's on the same page, we developed a contract for everyone as well. So we want to make sure that the teachers of the sending schools and the counselors of the sending schools actually know what's going on, and the parents are aware also. So we developed some questions for the students to ask of why they're choosing this topic to write the paper and what kind of product they're going to do, the goals from the project that they're going to accomplish, any tasks or academic standards and career work and education standards that the teachers are going to implement as well. And then we want to make sure that there was a timeline for them. So we want to make sure that the timeline are dates that are manageable, accomplishable, and that everyone is aware of those dates. So we have dates for the outlines, the drafts of bibliographies, the drafts of the paper, checkpoints for the project, practices for the presentation, and so forth. And it's kind of like a mini contract that's signed by myself, the teacher, the parent, and the student. So everyone's going to be aware of the progress during the honors course also. So at this moment, I'm going to pass it over to Brian. He's going to share with you his thought process and how he developed his honors course for the mechatronics program here. So Brian, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So you should be good to go.
Okay, good morning, everyone. As Stephen mentioned, my name is Brian Pottiger. I'm the mechatronics instructor here at North Montco Technical Career Center. And can everybody see my screen? I'm trusting that everybody can see the screen, so good, okay. So I am new to teaching. This is only my second year as an educator. I spent the previous 4 decades as a mechanical engineer, designing, developing, deploying automated assembly equipment for the semiconductor manufacturing industry. And when Stephen asked me to be a part of this team to develop the honors course, I thought this is great. And my perception of honors courses are more of the academic honors courses because that's what I was familiar with. So I knew a CTE honors course would have to be different, okay? But there were 2 main premises that I used. Oh, I'm down. Pages there. That's the first page. 2 main premises that I used in developing this based on the outline that we constructed for all the programs. And that was to make sure that the course is academically challenging and also industry relevant. So, and both of those have to work hand in hand in my view. So when I went through this, so the prerequisites, as you see on the screen here, the 100% of the tasks completed. That's in every program. Ours happens to be numbered 100, 500. The GPA, as Stephen already mentioned, recommendations. Our specific industry certification is OSHA 10. All the students that will participate in the honors program will have completed OSHA 10 prior to enrolling in the honors program or in grade 12. And then I added, and each program has the opportunity to add specific things that are unique to their program. So mechatronics is very mathematics intense. So we want to make sure that the students have a good mathematics foundation. So therefore, we want them to be a B or better grade in algebra and trigonometry. So those are the general prerequisites plus some specific ones to the honors program for the mechatronics program here at North Montco. So in the required assignments, Steve already covered this with the outline. There's an honors project which is written, hands-on, and a presentation. And as you mentioned, there were choices. And for this one, I'm going to ask the student to do a research paper, specifically involving emerging automation technologies. And that can go a lot of different directions. It could be electronic vehicles. It could be the battery development for electronic vehicles, it would be alternate energy. It's a pretty long list of things, but I want them to explore the new things that are happening in industry and do some research on that and get sort of an idea of what's happening, where it's going. And that might also help them in their career planning as they complete their senior year. The project, the hands-on project that I've come up with is I want them to design an automated assembly process integrating at least 5 of the following 11 items that are listed on the screen here. And we have these resources in our lab. And I want them to basically understand the way things are integrated as you put together processes. And they can develop and determine what that process is going to be. And we'll have some brainstorming sessions and planning sessions to figure things out, what they want to do, and then figure out what pieces of these things we need to make that process, to complete that process. And that will be a real thing that they will develop and deliver a prototype or a final product that will complete a certain task. And then finally, this is my last slide under the required assignments. As Steve mentioned, we have value-added tasks on all of our programs. And for the mechatronics, there are 3 specific ones that the students will also complete. And that's principles of mechatronics, demonstrating a knowledge of the manufacturing systems, and automated material handling systems. So it kind of dovetails in with the automation research and the project that they'll work on. For mechatronics, we're also asking, we're going to have the students complete 2 specific industry certifications, and they are AMIST1, that's Automated Manufacturing, Integrated Systems Technology, and FANUC Robot Programmer. We have 2 FANUC robots in our lab, and the students, if they complete a certain course, they can actually earn a certificate from FANUC as a robot programmer. So we're really excited about that. And Steve already mentioned the participation in Skills USA, which is part of the template for all the courses. And then their student choice, we have a robotic club here at North Montco. That too has been put on hold with a lot of things during the pandemic. And hopefully we'll basically bring that back online soon. And then the other ones are very similar to what Steve already mentioned, employment in the field, summer internship. But again, here I would have them try to find something in the field of automation, processes, assembly, those kind of things, so they can get experience working with equipment either in process or in the design phase of automated processing. Job shadowing, community service, and interviewing a professional in the field of state-of-the-art automation technology. And we have members on our OAC team that are working in this field. So we have the resources that we can make available to the students for interviews like that, job shadowing. So we have a great set of resources, both technology and people, to support this program. So that's the honors program mechatronics specifics that I have put together for this particular program. So at this point, I'll turn it back to Steve, and then let me stop sharing. We'll answer any questions at the end of the session. So I should be able to stop sharing. Okay, it should be back to you, Steve.
Thanks, Brian. So yeah, as Brian said, all of our programs developed something similar to his, and each one is customized to their program. And like I said, mentioned before, we didn't want to stress out the teachers. We didn't want them to overwhelm them. So the teachers are able to find things they're already doing in their programs and then packaging them into the honors course. So the next initiative that we developed over the hybrid schedule that we used last year with a short-term development team was a senior portfolio. And this is nothing new. Every school does a senior portfolio or some kind of project that is accumulation of all their the work that the students done throughout the years. The way we did it though is we changed it, and it was a dramatic change for us because again, we had that old senior project that is now part of the honors course, which was so intense. It blew my mind that that we had it in place and that students were able to accomplish it because it was really academically heavy. There's a lot of work for the teachers, a lot of work for the students, and we have about 600 seniors going through the school at any given year. And it's difficult for us to keep track of everything and make sure that it reaches the standard that we want it to reach. So instead of doing that, we packaged that into the honors course, but we developed a senior portfolio instead. And the goal of that, again, was to reduce the non-compliance of the original senior project. Not saying that teachers were being malicious about it, but they found better ways to serve our students. So cosmetology had a great project going on. Advertising design had a great senior project going on, but it was so scattered all over the building. I wanted to make sure that we were more unified as a team, as a whole school, so every student could walk away knowing that they did something great with their time at North Monaco, and they have something to show for it. So this senior portfolio serves a lot of purposes. We all know that districts are looking for future-ready index career standards and benchmarks. They need career guidance plan evidence. They talk about career education work standards all the time. And now, of course, with Act 6 and Act 158, there is a CTE pathway to graduation. So this portfolio incorporates all those other state requirements that the districts are looking for, so we can support our districts in doing the senior portfolio at the same time. The good thing about this senior portfolio is that they're actually able to walk away with it. We wanted something tangible that they could walk away with and use in the future as well. And some of our districts actually still require a senior project, believe it or not. So this also accomplishes that goal of the students completing their senior project for their local district graduation requirement. So here's the timeline for the senior project. It's kind of similar to the honors course, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. But I started in 2019, met with the teachers and the students, talked about what was going on with the school in general, what was working, what was not working. And then in the winter of 2019, 2020, I met with the teachers about senior projects, trying to figure out what was going on. Like, as I mentioned before, I was signing these documents about senior projects, and I really wasn't sure what students were doing. The students really couldn't talk about or articulate what they were doing for the project. Every teacher was doing something different. It's kind of like the Wild West, but I let it slide, trying to figure out what was going on and feel out what was working and what wasn't working. Then in the fall of, then of course COVID hit, and we kind of stopped everything in its tracks. And in the fall of 2020, we were again fortunate, but with our hybrid schedule and our asynchronous Fridays. So I got a group of 6 CTE teachers, some new, some seasoned, got all their input about what would be good for the senior project. And at the meetings, it was never me telling them what to do. All of my meeting agendas had questions on them. I just wanted to know what was going on and get input from them, which was really helpful. And then the winter of 2021, the development team meeting continued, and each team member developed their own list of artifacts for their senior portfolio. And again, these are volunteers that decided to join this initiative. They were all team decision-making. It wasn't administrative driven at all. I just gave them an idea. I said, I think we should do X, Y, Z. And then they took it, ran with it, and developed some really good senior portfolios. Then we sent these samples again to the OACs, the principals, case managers, counselors, got feedback, tweaked them a little bit, got approval by the districts, for them to satisfy their senior project requirement. We presented to the staff, and then over the summer of 2021, the teachers finalized their portfolios. Now this fall, we're doing something a little unique. We're rolling out really slowly. We didn't want everyone to start it right away because these portfolios are created over the time they're in the program. So if we started with our seniors this year, they would have really limited amount of artifacts in their portfolio. So we're allowing our seniors to continue whatever they did in the past for their senior project. Our current seniors are going to do it this year. This year, though, for the underclassmen, this is when we're going to start our new senior portfolio, where they do the collection of the artifacts from 9th, 10th, 11th grade. And then by the time they become 12th graders, they would have a full, complete senior portfolio. So our current juniors are going to be the first ones to complete the portfolio next year. But we're starting with the underclassmen this year to follow the sequence of grade level assignments that are assigned to them. So the senior portfolio, again, we reused our current programs projects. Like I said, cosmetology was doing great things. Advertising design was doing really good things. Our construction cluster was doing really good things as well that Robert's going to speak to in a few minutes. And we recycled our old senior expo. So when I first got here, I never experienced the senior expo because COVID hit, and then we never really done it yet. We canceled it the 2 years I've been here so far. But I was told they got these black trifolds, and it was more like a science fair than a professional networking opportunity. So we're going to try and get our senior expo and recycle it into something new that we're going to call a reverse career fair. So the reverse career fairs, when they have their digital portfolios or their tangible portfolios, the hard copies, we're going to invite industry members and business partners to come in and to walk around and actually talk to the students in their programs. My feeling is that when a student goes to a workplace, they get intimidated. If they're in their comfort zone, their classroom, they're going to be more open, more expressive, and be able to talk about their portfolio more comfortably than if they're in some foreign area or some foreign spot they haven't been exposed to yet. So we're really looking forward to our new senior expo there. So I'm going to show you some links and how we developed our senior portfolio. Again, you're going to look at it and say, oh, we do this kind of stuff already. And I totally believe that. We just grouped it together and we're going to spin it in a certain way. So it will be a complete 180 for us as the senior project. So we broke down the portfolio into 3 categories: the technical, career preparation, academic. Of course, we want to do the state required task list for the cover sheet, a completed assessed task list, any industry certifications, videos or photographs or other evidence of their projects or accomplishments in the lab. We're going to have them do a resume, a cover letter. Letters of recommendation I feel are really important, especially for students trying to get into the workforce as an entry level or for the first time job opportunity. And sometimes your co-op logs or agreements or your COS program hours speak volumes as well to the type of student that we're pushing out into the workforce. And of course, we have academic criteria. We want to make sure that the articulation agreement cover sheets are all set up and ready to go in case they want to use them. The high school transcripts are important. Any local articulation agreements that we have that they earn college credits for already. And we like written reflections. We think when you guys videotape or record or take pictures of your projects that you did really well on, a reflection of how you created it, your thought process behind it, the struggles you encountered, would be a really good talking point for an interview and for a student trying to get an entry-level job as well. Then we broke it down by grade level. So our programs are 4 years, but a lot of the programs wanted to start in 10th grade year, which is understandable. Not every district sends our students during 9th grade. Sometimes they start in 10th grade, but some programs wanted to start in 9th grade. So we gave that flexibility. This breakdown is only for 10th to 12th grade. So we want to make sure that every year the students upload a copy of their task list, any industry certifications and reflections about their projects that they did. We also want to make sure that they understand the importance of the portfolio. Then 11th grade, it's kind of the same thing. You have an updated task list, any industry certifications, additional photographs or videos if they want to replace some old projects that they performed and redo them, or take some of the original projects and incorporate them with the new projects as well. We encourage that. And again, more written reflections about the hands-on projects. 12th grade's where the meat and potatoes is of the portfolio. This is where we have, the completed task list for all the students for all 4 years, more industry certifications, the photographs and videos of the projects that they did, the resume, cover letter, and so forth, the high school transcripts. Again, this is an accumulation of the projects. It's not like the teachers have to regrade everything by the time they're seniors. So if a student submits something in their 10th grade year, it's already graded. The teacher does not have to regrade it again. The senior portfolio is more of, is it done or is it not done? Then we're not going to grade individual artifacts because they're already been pre-graded. It's the accumulation of the entire time they were there with all the artifacts that create that senior portfolio. I'm going to show you the checklist for the construction cluster, and then Robert's going to show specifically his program for the electrical trades. It's basically the same exact thing I just showed you. They outlined it for 10th, 11th grade. Their 12th grade, they did something a little different. They actually have a senior project. So they do a job proposal, a job cost, and a project proposal, and they have to do a lot of documentation with the videos, the photographs, and a written explanation of the project as well. As you can see, in addition to that, though, they still have a resume, their cover letter, letters of recommendation. So these are the minimum requirements. If the teachers wanted to add more to their list of their senior portfolio, they were more than welcome to do that as well. Again, we developed optional rubrics for our teachers. We didn't want to leave them stranded, saying, Steve, how am I going to grade a resume? How can I grade a cover letter? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to implement any rubrics for that. So as the team, the development team, we actually came up with rubrics to distribute to all the teachers so they're not left hanging out there to dry without any support from us to grade those components of the portfolio. So this time I'm going to turn over to Robert. He's going to show you guys his senior portfolio for his electrical trade students. Okay, Robert, it's all you. Hold on, Robert, you're muted.
Okay, so I'm unmuted. You can see my screen? Yes. So good morning. My name is Robert Catanzaro. I'm the electrical instructor at North Monco. This is my 10th year teaching. And like Brian, I spent decades in industry, working in the field. And I actually had my own company renovating schools primarily, which is how I became introduced to North Monco and made the transition to teaching in 2012. What you see in front of you is our portfolio for our construction cluster of HVAC, electrical, and carpentry. And it's a template that the carpentry teacher put together, a Google site. And I'm going to be honest, he did the footwork. He's a Google guy. He's 20 years younger than me. I'm a Microsoft application type person. So we all have different strong points and we networked them together. Mine happens to be spreadsheets and organization, and he's more on the Google technology end. And it worked out well for us. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of example of my one student who graduated last year. It's an incomplete portfolio because we didn't really start putting it together to May when Stephen gave us an option of doing this. And I jumped all on board. I'm for technology. I think it's great. I'm against those trifolds and 3-ring binders and all that stuff. That probably was great, in prior decades. And this is really the new way to introduce everything. So it's not going to be totally complete, but it gives you a nice snapshot of what's going to happen. So Malcolm put together all these different pages, and the students can put in accomplishments, their certifications that they have obtained, their OSHA certification or SP2, whatever they might have obtained during their duration at North Monco. Put pictures, put a little caption in there to make it more visible, makes it pop. I actually embedded some spreadsheets to have the students update as they progress. And I not only did it with the seniors, I went full force with the 9th, 10th, 11th graders last year to get them familiar how to navigate this, how to save these files and keep them updated. So what you're going to see here is not a reflection of the student's portfolio who created this, because there are some snafus that we came across. And honestly, I just figured this one out last week. This student graduated and our IT department disabled his account on me probably in the last 2 weeks. I lost access to his files that he was sharing through his portfolio from his account. So I reinserted the original templates of these spreadsheets. So it's a lesson learned on that part. I will say it was kind of like disappointing because he had so much, but I'm going to share with you. Let's see if I can get it up. and it is hard to click these things sometimes. There it is. So Stephen had wanted us all to have the students access to their program of study, their POS, so that they know what's expected of them and how they're progressing. So I thought it was great to incorporate it into the portfolio. They can go through and highlight what they know they've been exposed to and what they completed. It aligns with the what I'm putting in for their grades. And it's great that they can see it and they can actually share this with their parents. So that works out pretty good. Back. We also did that for the task list. I created this project list that aligns with the POS. So my students run on a competency-based agenda. As they progress through the program at their own rate of learning, they can move on to the next project, which is more involved, more technical. So I have them all listed, and they just keep on going. And as the students complete them, they can highlight them, check them, and say, hey, I completed this project. Again, it's a good way to document their progress. It's a good way to share it with their parents. And if they actually have an employer, if they're in our PI-UP or co-op program, they can share it with them also. One of the little issues I found when I made this master template and embedded these files is having the students open it up, make a copy, and save it as their own, delete the file I put in, and then reinsert their file. What was happening as they were editing it with their first initial last name and giving it their information, it was actually happening on my Google Drive on the master copy. So lesson learned, I have to actually sit with the students, open up all their Google accounts, and walk them through to make sure that they download the file, make a copy, save it as theirs, remove the one on the original template, and insert theirs. I'm going to say that was a little bit of a challenge when you're doing that with 15 people at a time, and some people are really savvy with file management, and some people, students might struggle with a little bit. So it's something to be aware of when you create this and you share it. It's easy to hit share. It's another thing to make it their own, and they're editing their respective information and not the master copy. So as I move through this, you can see another page, examples of his work. This student was really advanced. He would be like an honors course student if we had that in effect at the time. He actually moved up to some three-phase industrial applications, and he was actually working for a industrial contractor in his PI-UP program. You can insert a video of the project actually being operated. You can just do a snapshot picture. You can put captions in there. It really does pop. And this portfolio hits a couple points. One, it's their progression through the program. It's also going to fulfill their requirement for a senior portfolio because they're going to put in the latest, greatest things they have completed. And if they make this copy portable and save it on their own personal Gmail, they're going to be able to share this with employers for job applications, interviews, that is going to really like hit another level on the employer level, that they can actually see some of the work and everything that they've been exposed to at North Monaco and get a good snapshot of that type of work and exposure. Also, again, I don't have his resume. It was saved or shared through his file at the time. I reinserted the template I put in. So I put up a nice template. They were able to open it up, download it, make a copy, and edit it with their current information and reinstall it. You can do a letter of recommendation, or you can add as many items as you like to customize it to your program. So for the senior project, the student's actually going to insert pictures of his project. For us, it's from the design scope. The student actually created a temporary power station for his employer. He helped in the design mode, the fabrication, and the wiring and installation of this product. So the portfolio actually gives him an avenue to present all this information in a really inviting method. For the academics, anything that they happen to complete or articulation, high school transcripts, they could upload that and insert it. I'm going to roll back through this real quick. So as I said, these spreadsheets, I create them in Excel. You change them over to Google Sheets. Either way, they work. It's a good way for the students to stay up to date of where they're at and how they're progressing through the program. I'm a big fan of organization and file management. So the whole concept of this really hits home with me. I like it. And the exposure the students get with the Google Drive, creating a portfolio folder, uploading their documents under that portfolio, maybe under another subfolder, and then inserting it into the document. It just enhances their ability to be efficient throughout life. You know, as a business owner myself, I found it critical to have those organization skills, and they're universal regardless of your program. So I think this portfolio provides all those opportunities that you're looking for to teach to the students and give them the chance to, you know, represent their work and completion through the program. And just emphasizing, it is a learning curve with Google Drive and how to make these copies and rename them and reinsert them. And it does take some management of the student body to make sure that it happens smoothly. And I think that's everything I have. I'll take any questions at the end also. And I can give it back to Stephen. I can share my screen.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, and so just to summarize, the senior project, or the senior portfolio, how you want to call it, we're rolling out slowly. We're doing the underclassmen this year, and then everyone else is going to be moving forward each sequential year. The honors course, we're doing the 12th grade only this year. Hopefully in the near future, we could develop an 11th grade honors course too, because some of the feedback from the district said, well, when kids apply to colleges, they apply in their 11th grade year. And that's a really valid point. But we started with the seniors because we knew that would be the most intense honors course in the development process. So hopefully in the near future, we can do the 11th graders as well. You know, give them an opportunity to take an honors level course when they're actually applying for the colleges too. So again, that concludes our presentation. I want to thank you guys.